The TEFL Commute, Season 11, Episode 4, Home, in which your two hosts are both stuck at home. Welcome, everyone, to the TEFL Commute. This is a podcast for language teachers that's not about language teaching, but the topic often comes up. I'm one of your hosts, Lindsay, and I'm joined by another host.
Hello there, Ceri here.
Ceri here. Ceri is also an occasional host on the show. Our other regular host, Shaun, is overwhelmed with teaching online work, and Ceri and I are both hosting the show. In the TEFL Commute, if you're new joining us, we take a topic, usually a single word, and we sort of explore that word and what it means for language and language teaching. And in our last episode, we did an episode called Sick, which was all about the coronavirus, and that hasn't really gone away. In fact, our episode this week is Home, because Ceri, you and I are both stuck at home. Is that right?
We are indeed. We're both on lockdown.
Yes, that's right. Ceri and I are both based in Spain, where, how long has it been now? A week?
Well, depends what you're counting it by. I think I'm on day 5.
Yes.
We're counting from Saturday. Other people are counting from Monday. But for me, it's day 5.
Okay. All right. And for me, it's, it would be day 5 as well. I'm just a little bit north of you. We are in our apartments. We're not allowed to leave unless it's for food or medicine.
Or to walk the dog. If you have a dog, you have special privileges.
Yes, or to visit someone who is not well, or in some cases to work, although they're trying to restrict work as much as possible. So
they're sending us all online.
Yes, indeed, that's right. But one of the things that we've both noticed, we were saying, is we're just around the house all the time. Now, both of us are materials writers and online teacher trainers, so we do a lot of work at home now, but it does feel a bit different now with everyone being at home, wouldn't you say?
It's weird, because I thought, like, when they first announced the lockdown, I was saying, well, that's not going to change my life at all. This is what I do anyway. It's kind of, I think we were having a discussion recently about this, weren't we, Lindsay, that actually leaving the house and going off and doing an errand was like this huge, big mission. But it's not exactly the same, because everybody's at home.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's very, it's very strange. But what it did make us think about was the role of home, and like home in language and home in teaching materials and the way we teach home and house vocabulary. And it's quite a minefield of issues, isn't it?
It is. It's kind of, once you start just thinking around that one little word, there's so much to it.
So language of home. You were looking at expressions and the word home and how that kind of fits into other things.
Well, yeah, of course. You know what we do when we have a new topic? One of the first things, like, you just reach for Google, don't you, and see what Google has to offer. And the first thing that came to my mind was all the cliches with home, sort of all of the, so, you Google expressions with home. And I'm going to ask you what you think the first 5 might have been that came up. I'm going to give you a keyword to help you.
All right, so the listeners can do this as well. Let's just review what we're doing. So you're going to give me a keyword, and it's going to be an expression that has this keyword and the word home in it. Yeah,
that's right. Let's see if you can get it right. So I'm going to start with, I think, a fairly easy one.
Okay.
What about chickens? If I say chickens, what's the expression?
Chickens. Oh, is it like the chickens are coming home to roost, or
Excellent.
Chickens? Okay,
yes,
excellent.
That's right.
All right.
That's right.
Good,
So,
good,
that's one of them. Another one, bacon.
Bacon at home. Bacon.
What's the expression?
Bacon. Bringing home the bacon. Bring home the bacon. Someone brings home the bacon.
Yep, okay. 2 out of 2 so far. Okay. Now, this one is really, really easy. If I say sweet.
Home sweet home, of course.
There you
Yeah.
go, the
Yeah.
classic doormat or whatever that you wipe your
Yes,
feet
exactly.
on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going for two which are kind of slightly dated, I would say.
Okay. Yeah.
First one is castle. Slightly
Oh,
more
and
difficult.
yes, this is slightly more difficult, but this is the Englishman's home is his castle.
That's right. It also
Yeah.
comes up on Google as a man's home is his castle, but
Oh,
definitely for
really?
me, yeah, just like generally,
A man's
sort of
home is his
gendered.
castle. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Yeah, very gendered.
Very gendered. And then if we want another gendered one, of course, how about woman?
A woman's home is a woman's place is in the home.
That's the one, yeah.
Wow. So it's so interesting that home can be gendered in each way. So it's not even that like just expressions. Like I was thinking, yes, the woman's place is in the home, and there is that sort of the kind of very dated and the kind of sexist notion of the women in the home.
Like the 1950s advert with the pinny on and waiting for the husband to come home from the office, that kind of image.
Exactly.
You get with that.
But you also get the man's home as his castle. So it's interesting.
Yeah, which is kind of, that's where the man rules. So it's still coming from the same political gendered idea, isn't it?
Yeah. Very interesting. Very interesting. And how are these very frequent? These?
Okay. So my next quiz for you was this. We've got 5 expressions there.
Okay.
And I just did like the Google frequency. How many times did these expressions come up when I looked for them in Google? So I give you absolutely no prizes whatsoever for guessing what number 1 was.
Home sweet home has to be.
Absolutely. And with 3 billion hits.
3 billion hits of Home Sweet.
3 billion for Home Sweet Home. The others were all in the millions. Okay. So Home Sweet Home was number 1. What would you think would be number 2?
Oh, wait a second. What was there? Bring home the bacon. Bring home the bacon.
No, Bring Home the Bacon came in at number 3. So you're not far off. Number 3 with 160 million to Bring Home the Bacon.
It's not chickens have come home to roost.
No, that was definitely.
It's not a woman's place is in the home, please.
It is.
That's the second one. Oh my God.
Almost 200 million hits for a woman's place is in the home. Those are from the horrible discussion boards, like the dark corners of Reddit and 4chan. But then you Google a woman's place is, and then it's quite interesting to just see what all the different expressions are. So the woman's place is in the revolution comes as 3 after home and kitchen, for example.
Oh, right, of course, kitchen. Yeah. Okay. And then the next one would be what? The next one would be the man's home is his castle, or the Englishman's home?
No, then it's Bringing Home the Bacon. Number 3 is Bring Home the Bacon.
Oh, right, that's right.
A man's home is his castle, and last of all, the chickens coming home to roost.
Wow. Oof. Oh, that's kind of made me just feel depressed about how we talk about home and expressions in general. Why don't we take a very short break and hear some wisdom from the angels to cheer us all up?
To be a great teacher, you don't need the latest technology, the cutest classroom, or the newest outfit. What you do need is a passion for learning and the heart to love every student who enters your classroom.
The angels. Okay. Always a nice thing. Much better now. Feeling much better now. So we were talking a little bit at the beginning about the language of home, in terms of expressions with home. But one of the other things that is interesting is both Ceri and I are materials writers, and we both between us must have written, I don't know, dozens. More than dozens of lessons on home and language of home. And it does raise quite a few issues, because there's always it's something that is always taught at lower levels. You always have to have the obligatory home vocabulary lesson, partly because almost everyone in a language class is assumed to have a home, and so they can talk about where they live and stuff like that. It's kind of immediate. It feels useful, but it's not without its problems. Well, give me some of the angles that you've used to structure a lesson around home or
Okay,
issues
so
that you've run into.
I mean, like, as you say, it's always elementary, isn't it? It's that
Yeah,
classic elementary topic.
yeah,
And and there is an issue with house and home. You know, there's that kind of, it's always
yes,
about houses, isn't it? And it's like,
yeah.
how many of our students actually live in houses? How many of us writing live in houses? I haven't lived in a house
I haven't lived in a
for,
house
I
for a
don't know,
long
and
time.
since the last century.
So
I always lived in a
it kind of
flat.
begs, then it creates the idea of like, what words do we teach? Because obviously when we're choosing like a home lesson and we need to put vocabulary in, we'll
Well,
put things
yeah.
like kitchen and bedroom and maybe living room. Oh yes, living room. But things like, I don't put dining room anymore. It seems
No,
sort
and
of,
I want to put in things like balcony, which is kind of part
yes,
of a flat, isn't it? You know,
yeah,
more than a
balcony,
house, and then
exactly.
there's kind of its culture and geographically bound. The whole idea of what
Exactly, and I think we
exactly the
can
shape
see
of your
that
house
in,
is.
yes, and you can see that it's full of sort of cultural issues. So we're saying that we would include those things because that would be the reality for many people, let's say living in Europe. But we wouldn't include like a garden or porch. But then there may be
Yeah,
many people living in houses which have porches. North America is quite common. Doesn't have to be rich to have a porch often, or not in the
no, and
past anyway.
in the UK, you don't have to be rich to have a garden. You know, you can
No,
have like a little garden. It's not going to be a huge one, maybe, but there's going to be some kind of outside space. So then there's this whole kind of the problem of the aspirational idea of a house. So the illustrations and stuff I always find difficult because it's kind of this pressure to find a picture which is going to illustrate as many different rooms, etc. And so they tend to be like these big houses with lots of rooms and all the different rooms, and then there's been this swing that I've seen is that editors will say, oh, why don't we do tiny homes? You know,
yeah,
that's kind of trendy. But you go, yes, but that's also aspirational, you know, sort
yes.
of.
Yeah, and it's hard for people to always relate. I think one of the problems with these images of homes when you're teaching home vocabulary is sometimes the best quality images are the ones where there's lots of space so you can see like very easily
Yes,
and indicate, but that always ends up being the kind of photo that looks like it's out of like a home and garden catalog or like homes of the rich and famous, where you can see
exactly.
it's very easily a living room because it's got a nice big sofa and you can point to it easily, and they have all the things that you need in your vocabulary set, your sofas and your coffee table and all of that, but it's all very looks
I'd
very pretty.
really like to be able to use some of the IKEA homes that they set up in the shop, but apparently it's really difficult to get permission for the images because I think those
Ah,
are great because there would not be a nice kind of, you scale it all down because they're fitting it into 20 square meters in order to show everything off in a small space. That could
yes,
work. And then IKEA, how much
that's
more global can you get than IKEA?
well, indeed. I think there's also the other thing is that because home is often always taught at a lower level, and then maybe you return to it at a lower intermediate, like for furniture things. So we do
Yeah.
usually like one lesson on the main rooms, and then maybe there's another lesson a little bit later on furniture things. It also means that we tend to skirt away in materials on any kind of lots of tricky issues relating to homes. So even people who don't have homes,
Well,
homelessness,
yes. Yeah.
or yeah, just other issues with
Or the
homes.
whole idea of what is a home, and yeah, and
Exactly.
we did try once in a course book to use homelessness at elementary as our starting point for a unit on
Okay.
home, and that
Okay.
it worked. And there, but also this kind of idea of have you come across the container homes for the homeless and double-decker buses as refuges for the homeless
Oh
and stuff
yeah.
like
Okay.
that? And
Interesting.
that's quite a clever little angle because they I'm particularly fascinated by the conversion of double-decker buses because they put bathrooms and kitchens and
Oh
stuff in
wow.
there, but
Wow.
then they can drive around cities and stop where they're most needed, and like sort of they'll go alongside some public
Oh, I'm already
facilities
I'm
for
already feeling
washing.
a lesson coming on. I'm feeling
Yeah,
a
they're
lesson coming
great.
on. Okay. Yeah, but anyway, so I mean, basically to say that the whole area of home seems like the most kind of innocent and simple type of thing to teach, because what the other thing about home is it's all like physical things, right? Like it's a kitchen, it's a balcony, it's a this, it's a that, and so on. But it isn't without its problems. And so that's sort of what makes it interesting. After talking about ways of teaching home, ways of talking about home, ways of teaching home, let's circle back to where we started this episode, which is both of us have been stuck at home, which is maybe not abnormal for us, but we're stuck at home with everybody. And I think a lot of teachers and a lot of people have been kind of getting to grips with this, depending where you are in the world. And if it is the case for you, please stay safe and hope things are going okay for you, and as much as that's possible. But one of the things that's also been happening is there's been a lot of teachers helping each other out as schools are going, all online. And so there's lots of teachers helping other teachers, organizations helping teachers with having to teach online. I've been also working on some activities and kind of fun ideas for parents or teachers of young learners to give to parents or young learners for fun things to do in English around the home if you are, in fact, in quarantine. Would you like to hear them, Ceri?
I would love to hear them.
Okay, so I remember some of these things I did when I used to teach young learners for a while. We did this once, some of them in the classroom, but I've adapted some of these for at home. And I think these are the kinds of things that would be really fun to do if you were teaching kids at home and if you were teaching kids English and they're stuck at home and you want to give them projects to do. So I've got 3 or 4 here. The first one is, and I think even adults can do this, so if you want to give an idea for your students, even adults, is label a room. All of these activities are, by the way, are screen free. I figure we're getting a lot of screen time with other things if you're stuck at home.
I totally agree. Anything that's you away from the screen for just a little while is fantastic.
Yeah. So for labeling a room, what you need is Post-it notes. And what you do is you take a bunch of Post-it notes and choose a room. And together, you and the other people in the house, you label at least 20 things in the room and you just stick them on. So like, table, phone, router, whatever, right? So you label all of it. When you're done, you go through and you kind of like point at all the things and you say all the things, right? This is really good to do with someone in the house who doesn't speak any English, so maybe you're the person who speaks a bit of English and they don't, and so you're going to teach them the words.
Oh, the kids are the ones who speak English.
Exactly. So they do that with the parents, but they teach the parents the words. But then you leave the stickers there. The next day, one of you goes into that room and moves the labels around so they're all on the wrong things. And then you ask the original person to come back and they have whatever X seconds or a kind of time game where they have to put the labels all back in the right place. And then swap roles the next day. So then choose a different room or swap or keep the same room, and the next day the other person has to remember it within a minute or whatever and put the things all back in the right place. And then you take all the Post-its off and then move on to another room the next day. So that's one, labeling a room.
I love that idea.
Second one is making a dance or exercise routine. Again, this is good for your tweens, your preteens. So you find a song that you like and create a dance or exercise routine to go with it. So what you do is you make the moves together and write them on a piece of paper for using verbs like raise, move, shake, turn, put up, clap, stretch, etc. Right? And so then you combine these with body parts. So like raise your arms, touch your shoulders, shake your hands, bend your knees, touch the floor, do it again, whatever, something like that. And then you play the song, recite the sentences as you do it, and then the task is teach someone in your family who doesn't speak any English how to say that while listening to the song and doing the moves. So making
that, even though I know this is kind of away from the screen, but it would make a lovely video challenge as well.
It would make a fun video challenge as well. Yeah. The third one that I have was also like making cooking together. So doing a recipe, like doing an old-fashioned index card recipe. So look at what you have in the fridge and invent a dish together in your own language, but then you write it out in English as you make it, saying the steps out loud and sort of using a dictionary to find the words. A lot of I tried this, and you can get by. You don't need to have all the hard words like sprinkle and whatever, glaze and those kind of ones. You could get by with like take, put, mix, cook. It would be your 4 main verbs, like break maybe as well. And then you put these on the index cards. And at the end, you're using these recipes to create a little tea party where you then teach expressions like, pass me the whatever, and you sort of culminate in a little English tea party, which I know is stereotypical, but could be
No,
fun
but
for someone.
also, if you're talking about the really little young learners, sort of with pre-primary or youngest
Yep.
primary, they may well have a little toy kitchen as well in the home, and they could just based on that, couldn't they? That would be very sweet. And the whole thing of hosting a tea party or cooking imaginary food on little plastic plates is something that's so completely part of their universe anyway.
It is, and invite all the teddy bears too. So
exactly.
Yeah. The last thing that I would say, and I've been thinking about even doing something like this myself, is to make a to-do poster for after you are locked down, like when you can go out. So you need poster paper, coloring pens or pencils, and create a poster project of the top 5 things you're going to do when this all finishes. So family can suggest things like, we're going to go to the park, dad is going to do this, mom and I are going to do this, dad and whatever, my brother, my sister are going to do this. So it's a way of sort of like looking to the future in a kind of happy way, and provides good practice for be going to. So
it does indeed.
A win-win. That's all. Those are the things
I would say that we use that last one with a little pinch of salt, because it can turn against you, that suddenly it's like the one thing that's stuck in your head is what you're going to do when you get out. And it's not necessarily a positive.
Okay.
Because the other thing that we've been talking about as a family, which is not a positive either, but we're trying our best to, it's like, things I should have done before going into lockdown.
The regrets would be even worse. Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's like, if only I'd been to the hairdresser. So there's me and my son, we're both going like, oh my God, we both need a haircut so bad. What are we going to look like by the end of this? So that's one. Another one, my personal one was, because I kept on saying, I'm going to go in the sea, I'm going to go in the sea, it's too cold, it's too this, it's too the other. Now, of course, the beach is off limits. And so it's like, I wish I'd got to the sea. But again, that's another one, massive pinch of salt with that one, because you have to be in the right mood. Yeah,
That's true. Anyway, so those are things that I would do if I had young learners, and get them to do some projects while this is going on.
Absolutely. And I think parents are going to be so grateful to all the English teachers out there who are giving kids something positive and practical and fun to do, and that they can get involved as well. And because although I think we always have to, there's like this thing about the whole digital overwhelm and the almost social overwhelm of
that's true.
Like, our lives have suddenly become busier at home, not less busy. There's this, I have to do this and I have to do that, and there's lovely things, but it's like, oh my goodness, it's 8 o'clock, I have to go and clap at the window. It's 9 o'clock, I have to go and bang my saucepans. It's kind of, there are all of these sudden social imperatives I never had before.
No.
My kids, who are both secondary school and online with their teachers, and they're going like, they've got to slow down with the tasks they're giving us. They're giving us too much to do. And I think it's a phenomenon of people who are going online, first of all, is to just do as much as they possibly can. And hopefully they'll kind of calm down in a bit and realize that they don't need to give any more work than they were giving before.
Definitely. Just before we wrap up, I know that you had also been following an interesting hashtag in Spain. Let's finish with some of the things that you had found there. What was the hashtag you've been following, and how it relates to our
So I'm sorry,
episode?
I'm going to take it back to the screen. Having talked about digital overwhelm and wanting to keep away from our screens, there is this great Instagram account that my teenage daughter has shared with me. And so there's a Spanish version, which is me at home. And there's an English version of it, which is at stay at home please, and please is spelled PLS. But the English one is kind of a couple of steps behind the Spanish one. So when my daughter first showed me this, it was like, it's a list of things that you can do at home, like a wish list of things to do at home.
Okay.
And there were only about 50 items on the list when we first looked at it on Friday. Now there's 180.
Wow.
And the English language one is on about 50 something at the moment. So they're kind of lagging behind. But what we loved about it was going through and just having these little aha moments on stuff that we really should take off that list. So
all right, give us 3 to 5 of these.
The biggest aha moments for us, one was dust off the Wii and play Mario Kart. We moved flat 3 years ago, and we put the Wii in a box, and it stayed in there. And then every now and then, one of the kids will go, "Oh, what about the Wii?" And we'll go, "Oh yeah, we'll do that sometime." So it's like, yes, dust off the Wii. We went home, we've dusted off the Wii, so we've got that up and running. The other one was, oh my God, this is so sad that this was us. Put together that piece of IKEA furniture that's been sitting in a flat pack behind your sofa for 3 months.
Oh my gosh.
And we both went, oh my God, yes, that's us. That is just so embarrassing. We can't leave lockdown without having built that piece of furniture. Awesome. We haven't built that piece of furniture yet, though.
Okay.
So we're yet to see if that's going to happen. And then, the one that my daughter liked most of all was, first of all, try on all of your clothes in your wardrobe. Just all of them, every single outfit you've got. When you run out of stuff in your wardrobe, go to your mum's wardrobe. Try on all of her clothes, and then go to your dad's wardrobe and try on all his clothes as well. So there's
like dress up. Okay.
Right, just massive, mad dress up. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, and sorry, one last one was choose a different accent every day and talk to your family using that accent only.
Because I wasn't driving my family crazy enough already.
Exactly.
Okay. Awesome. So
185 at the moment is what that account
Tell
stands
us what the name of the account is in case people are interested in this.
Okay, so in Spanish, yo en casita, all lowercase, and in English, stay at home, please, spelled PLS.
Excellent. Well,
great ideas in there.
Wonderful. Okay, well, thanks, Ceri, for joining us. Yes, I mean, we're both at home, and I guess we're going to continue that way in the near future. Thanks, everyone, for listening to us. You can find all of our back episodes if you want to catch up and binge listen to the TEFL Commute. We're on 11 seasons, and you can find all the back episodes at teflcommute.com and, of course, on all your favorite podcasting platforms. Please send us a message on Facebook or Twitter. We're at all the usual places, and Instagram if you want to share something that this episode has sparked in you, like an idea for something to do at home or a piece of language about home that we neglected to mention. I guess I don't have any excuses to say I got to go because I got to go out. I got to go to the living room now.
I've got to visit another room. Yeah.
All right. Thanks very much, Ceri.
You're welcome. Stay safe. Stay sane. Bye.
Bye.
As your commute is coming to an end, here's an activity you can take into class. Play a sentence completion game. Dictate part of a sentence and leave the end blank. Students write and then complete the sentence with their own ideas. Here are some sentence beginnings you can use. Home isn't a place, it's... Home is where... Once students have written their own ideas, get them to compare with each other. Then ask them to type those sentence beginnings into a search engine to see what comes up. This activity is also quite possible to do online together in a forum or in a live online class. You've been listening to the TEFL Commute, an original podcast produced and presented by Lindsay Clanfield, Shaun Wilden, James Taylor, and our presenter in this episode, Ceri Jones. Don't miss out on any episodes by subscribing to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your podcast player of choice, and by visiting us at teflcommute.com.